Watch your time.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 105 of MAME Politics. How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing? I'm going to go to the chat really quick and say hello. Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael. How's it going, man? Hey, Furious. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Adam. Both Adams. Hey, Unbuttered. Hey, Bird. Um, so, it's low as fuck? Okay. Thanks for letting me know, fellow audio traveler. Give me a second. Give me a second to get myself up to par. How's this? Is this better? Is this fucking better? Michael? Hey, Tom. How's it going? Just so people know, I am going to continue my Treasure Games series. But I'm not ready to do it yet because I want to. I'm basically just going to force myself to learn all the treasure games that confused me the most before I do it, and sort of forcing myself to. There's a few treasure games that are still really mysterious to me, so I want to sort of figure those out, learn them a little better, get good at them, and then show you guys. Believe it or not, did put a lot of work into learning how to play that fighting game, which I can't even pronounce the name of. Yu Yu Hakusho, I think it's called. Lori could probably pronounce it. Resident Evil 2 speedrun? Is that a Resident Evil reference? I don't think you'll ever see me play a Resident Evil game on here unless it's scornfully. Their first Resident Evil game is such a piece of garbage. It's kind of baffling to think that actually changed gaming forever. Because, I mean, to me, Alone in the Dark is still far better than the original Resident Evil game. But, you know, to each his own. People come from different video game generations. So yeah, how's everybody feeling? I mean, it sort of feels like a protracted transition to the new presidency, more than normal, I would say. So, what's everybody feeling about that? Is that a bear? You hit a golf ball at a bear? Yeah. I still feel like there's an amped up energy in the air just from the Trump era. Then I don't know if that sensation is going to go away anytime soon. It's hard to believe that we can ever sort of go back on that era energetically. But maybe we will to a certain extent. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, to see how much glue Trump was responsible for holding together in terms of that sort of like energetic, amped out feeling. Yes, Furious PSYOP, I did call it. Hunter Biden will be the first person to smoke crack and get a foot job at the same time in the White House. So he's now beat David Cross, potentially even beat JFK, although JFK was up to some pretty sketchy shit. Apparently JFK just, one of the White House interns who was 17 years old, who just grabbed her by the hand and without saying anything walked her up to the White House bedroom and just threw her on the bed and fucked her. So some presidents have been up to some pretty crazy shit. But Hunter Biden might take the cake. And I hope that we get more pictures from within the White House. Adam, yeah, you're probably right. JFK probably tried it all. He probably tried everything. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really have much to talk about, to be honest, except that we have a fucking new presidency that's going to be terrible. But one interesting thing that I've noticed very early on in this is that there's still this myth or still this paradigm that exists that Trump was anti-war. And it's still being pushed by people on the left. Now, one interesting example of this that I saw, excuse me, was, yes, Bird World, that's what you called what I'm going to talk about, was a tweet that went extremely viral. And I'm not going to name any names because there's too many to name, but just in your head, think, who are all the anti-imperialist, self-identified lefties on Twitter who are prominent, who have over 20,000, 50,000 followers? Take half of all those people And basically what happened is yesterday or the day before, almost half of the Twitter anti-imperialist scene spread a viral tweet that was based off of fake information from a sketchy right-wing guy who actually is friends with somebody from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and co-writes articles with them. Now, what's interesting is the article. So he tweeted out an article from the Jerusalem Post about how the embassy in Iraq was bombed and it's going to require a new approach from the Biden administration. It was almost like a foreign policy type of article, like recommending or sort of speculating what Biden should do. Now, interestingly, there was nothing in the actual article about Biden policy. There was nothing saying there's speculation Biden's administration is going to do this, or there's speculation that this many troops might be sent. There was nothing in the actual article saying anything about that. But his tweet was framed like this, and I don't have it right up in front of me, but essentially the tweet was saying Trump ended the war in Iraq, like he took all the troops out from Iraq, and Biden is planning on sending 1,000 more. Now, this is what his tweet said, and he just posted this, I think it was a Jerusalem Post article under it. Now, what's fascinating is this Jerusalem Post article, of course, said nothing of the sort. So people started asking him, hey, where did you get that extra information? It's not in the actual article. His response was, this is literally what his response was. Oh, you don't know how my process works. Let me explain. I have a bunch of contacts in D.C. that I talk to over Signal that give me scoops, he said. This guy doesn't have a track record of being a credible journalist with credible sources whatsoever. So typically speaking, if someone does something really misleading like that, and then later is like, oh, no, I got it from a source, and he doesn't have a track record of using anonymous sources in a credible fashion before that, then it's called a lie. So basically what this guy was doing, his name is @amuse, like the word amuse on Twitter. He calls himself some kind of entrepreneur. He was a staffer for Newt Gingrich. Somehow he has almost 100,000 Twitter followers. But this tweet of his implying that Trump removed all the troops and that Biden is going to send 1,000 more was made up information. First of all, Trump never removed all the troops. So that's the first part of his tweet that is false. So first of all, it's implying that Trump wanted to end the Iraq war. He took all the troops home, yada, yada. Not true. Then he says that Biden is sending 1,000 more troops in. Also not true, even though I don't think it would be a surprise or unlikely if Biden sent troops back in. Seems actually fairly likely or pretty typical. However, the point I'm trying to make is that this guy made up this information out of whole cloth. He didn't say a source told me such and such. A source gave me extra information based on this article. What he did was, and this is actually very sad and actually disturbing when you think of how many leftists fell for it. I'm like talking 50% of the Twitter left anti-imperialist scene. Jacobin writers, 2 of them. A lot of the same anti-imperialists who fall for like right bait, like kind of quasi pro-Trump stuff fell for it. But a lot of ones who don't fall for that stuff also fell for this. So I was surprised. But it was just interesting because I started to maybe reply to a few of the people I saw who were posting this and be like, hey, just want to let you know there's no source for this claim. Biden sucks. He's a warmonger. But be careful spreading around this guy's tweet because it looks like it's blatantly fake. It looks like it's some kind of bait. It's fake. And it seems like what this guy Amuse was actually trying to do is he posted this tweet assuming that people wouldn't actually read the article, which is pretty deceptive thing to do, but it's also kind of sloppy because like a lot of people would read an article and be like, hey, what are you trying to pull here? But the shocking part is people with over 100,000 followers on Twitter, like really prominent people in the scene, posted it, didn't question it, didn't read the article itself, still spread it around, and still have their tweets up right now. They have not deleted their tweets. So what happened from here was the show Rising. Someone was like, oh, I bet we're going to see this on Rising tomorrow. I don't remember who it was. Someone on Twitter. A very astute, perceptive person was like, oh, I bet we're going to see this on Rising tomorrow. Just repeated as a fact. Well, it turns out that is exactly what happened. Rising, the Hill Rising, the Hudson Institute cutout show that's not, kind of a front for a neocon think tank masquerading as some kind of populist show, actually ran with the same tweet. So either this means that Crystal Ball and Sagar Onjeti of The Hill Rising are terrible fact checkers and they have no fact checkers on their staff, and they ran and got fooled by a fake tweet, ran with and got fooled by it, or they intentionally spread a lie. So either one of those is actually pretty fucked up. To think that a show like Rising that people think is some kind of anti-war program that pushes like real populist stuff that cuts through the partisan divide, that just has no fact checking, they don't even bother to do it at all. Like, that's pretty bad. I mean, it kind of speaks to something that's just no journalistic integrity there. But then if it's the other option where they intentionally spread a lie even after knowing that tweet was sourceless and it was essentially made up, that's even worse. So I'm pretty disappointed in people who I thought were smart, who still have this tweet up, who are still spreading this around because it's something that seems believable, perhaps. But I just really think people are just getting dumb. And the Trump era has actually made people really dumb in the sense that they are still buying into this. They still don't understand that Trump and other right-wingers like Tucker are using anti-war left rhetoric for their own nefarious ends. It's not genuine. It's not honest. They have their own nefarious agenda. Tucker's program is literally a pipeline for about 3 different neocon think tanks in D.C. The Committee on the Present Danger, the Hudson Institute, and even sometimes the FDD. It used to be more so. His father, in fact, worked for the FDD. He had a high up position in it. So if you are a leftist and you're in the anti-war scene and you can't see how this sort of narrative is being manipulated to serve a nefarious agenda, then I don't know really what to tell you, because it's quite obvious at this point. It's quite obvious, too, that the whole narrative of Trump being anti-war, being anti-deep state, being anti-military industrial complex was some form of carrot on a stick bait, soft QAnon bait, if you will, for leftists to basically bury their head in the sand. And unfortunately, a lot of people got fooled by this op, or went along with this op. Very, very prominent people in the left scene did. You could see a very easy version of that with just who got booked on Tucker, how all the people who got booked on Tucker want future bookings, so they won't criticize Tucker, and also their colleagues won't criticize Tucker either because they don't want to disrupt their chances of their colleagues getting booked on Tucker. So you have that problem. And that's a big problem in and of itself. But you have a much larger problem that sort of emanates from that same energetic op, because that in and of itself is an op. I don't know if Trump's people were behind it. I don't know exactly how, how that works. But hold on, I got to turn off my I'm getting distracted by my iMessages I have up on my screen here. So go to my Twitter timeline, Joe, if you want to see what tweet I'm talking about. I know I'm kind of talking inside baseball right now. People who don't follow me on Twitter probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. Brock, what I mean by soft QAnon bait is the concept that Trump is secretly good. So regardless of what you're seeing, regardless of what he's actually saying, you, as a leftist, you buy into the little carrots on sticks about how he wants to end the wars or he wants to pardon Assange. That's what I mean by soft QAnon bait. I actually believe that the last 4 years, there have been right-wing Trump operators running essentially mini psychological operations on the left to get a bunch of the left to stand down and to reroute their focus away from the Trump administration's foreign policy and what their intelligence agencies were doing. You didn't see very much of the left going after the CIA under Trump specifically. We were under this illusion that the CIA was versus Trump. We're under the illusion that Trump is versus the deep state. Those things I see as being QAnon-style signaling that has seeped into the left and that has actually sort of brainwashed parts of the left. Now, I guess what I'm saying here is that it was intentional. That there wasn't just a QAnon for the right. There was also something going on for the left. Tucker obviously played a role in that. The Hill Rising played a role in that. Steve Bannon understands the mind of an anti-imperialist and a leftist almost better than any of Trump's people. If you watch his movie that he did with Errol Morris, you watch some of the old stuff he said about war. I mean, it's clear that Bannon has studied Noam Chomsky. It's clear that people like Bannon have studied, maybe he's even read Michael Parenti. Maybe he's even read, William Blum. Maybe he's even read Chris Hedges, This is the thing we really need to understand, is that the right has already taken left anti-imperialist rhetoric, watered it down, siphon energy away from the left, and try to use it for their own agenda. This like fake, phony Trump-era right-wing populism. So I don't know if that makes any more sense to you, Brock, but that's basically what I'm saying. I mean, it could have been organic. It could have been just a lot of people on the left had a blind spot for this stuff and that they wanted to believe. They got sucked into some kind of hope and changey version of Trump. But I actually think it was probably deliberate on some level. And then when I think back to Tulsi, I'm thinking, was she part of this too? Because she definitely moved the needle in a weird direction when it comes to the anti-war scene and did weird things to the left. Hey, 311, how you doing? So this game I have up on the screen, some people in the chat seem like they've already played it. It's probably like the most classic, well-known golf franchise in arcade games. And it's made by the same company that actually made Bloodstorm and Time Killers and made some weird games, Strata. I think that Strata made it. It might actually be one of their most successful games, if I'm not mistaken. But one of the cool parts about this game is you play it on a trackball. And I've been trying to figure out a trackball setup for the show and just in general playing games off the arcade system. But please don't look down on me for this. But what I managed to get was so it's a mouse. It's technically a mouse. I don't know if you can see this. I'm pointing to the camera. So this is it functions just like a mouse. But it has a nice 3-inch trackball as the mouse, like basically. And it's weighty. It feels like a real trackball. It doesn't function exactly like one. So a purist won't like this, but it works fine for me, and it works fine for playing this game. So it's cool. I mean, it's cool that this game actually had a trackball. I didn't realize how many bar games like that they had, arcade games that they would have in bars use trackballs. There's a lot of bowling games. There's dart games. There's a lot of different golfing games. There's horseshoe games. Even the game Shoes that Lori and I played, that game is actually meant to be played on a trackball. Adam, no, it's not made by Duplo. It's made by a company called AbleNet. It is a product made for the disabled. So I think that's the concept of it. Just basically has like two gigantic buttons on either side. So it's like almost like an arcade. It's got like arcade quality buttons on the side for the left and right mouse button. Let's give this a spin. And give this goddamn game a spin. The music is hilarious. Okay. So. Wait a second. Will it not let me? Oh, you know what? The button assignment got jacked up. Sorry, be patient with me for a second. I gotta fucking change the button config a little bit.
Loading complete.
Gotta change the button config. Okay, let's see if this works. Good, okay, that works. That's so weird that it says gun. I don't understand that. I gotta fucking fix that shit. The fuck? Why would it say gun? That's so weird. Why does that say gun but it says mouse? I'm so confused by that. Okay, that time that worked. That's very odd. Okay. So just gotta do this. Okay, I'm good to go. Good to go. Hey, John, how's it going? Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Oh, no. What? Dude. Wait a second. Wait a second. Why is that happening? Why on earth is that fucking happening like that? Now it's going crazy. I had it all set up correctly before too. That sucks. In terms of just the trackball. Okay, so that did something. Okay, so it's supposed to be mouse. I think it's not supposed to be gun. Okay, we're set. We're set now. Sorry about that. Scorpion Bend. Gotta do Scorpion Bend. I mean, come on. Obviously. Okay, so. All right. Let's give this a go. I love the smoothness of the trackball. It's so fun. Could have added maybe a little more animation frames. I don't know. I mean, it's a cool... It moves nice with the trackball. I like that. There's a few games that have like a nice animation when you move a trackball. Sonic is another one. This game's another one. Motherfucker. Scorpion Cove might be the hard one. Shit. Dude, this is hard as fuck. The fuck? Oh, God. I fucking suck at this game. Oh, man. It's going to bounce right off the goddamn rock. What was I thinking? So it's like the worst golf game ever. I feel like I'm not getting enough inertia on here. I might need to yeah, shit, right in the fucking water, see? I think I'm, you know what? I know what I have to do. I gotta do some more configuring of this shit. Oh yeah, come on. This is way not sensitive enough. Are you kidding me? Oh man, I need to like... Yeah, this needs to be like at 70. Yeah, this is gonna be way better. Okay. So I have different, I didn't realize I had different clubs I can choose from. I gotta figure that out. Oh yeah. Yes. Ah. Robbie Smoothballs Martin. All right, you guys ready for this? You guys ready for this shit? Fuck yeah, dude. Look at that fucking drive. Now watch this drive. George W. Bush. Shit. They love me out here. They love me on the course. What the fuck was that? Oh, it's a replay. Yeah, see how good I can do when I got a more sensitive ball. It's so good. What? Why is that bad? To be proud of that, dude. Fuck! Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it. I'm not supposed to swing that hard. All right.
Call for one to putt.
Catherine, you're going to have to explain what that means. I like the replays.
Call for 1 to hit.
All right. Hole 4. Good old hole 4. Okay, looks like I'm gonna kind of do this a little bit. I think. Yeah. 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 Oh man. Oh shit. Did it go above that? Oh yes. Yes. Oh.
Call for 1, trying for birdie.
Trying for birdie. Here I go. Woo. Oh fuck, dude, I fucked up.
Call for 1, trying for par.
Jesus Christ. No unbuttered toast. I did not see Iran threaten Trump in a tweet. Like, after he left the presidency, like, fuck you, orange man. We got to better watch your back kind of shit. Like, you're not president anymore. What is it? What did the tweet say? I'm with Brock on this one. I feel like whatever is being described is fake, but I didn't see it, so I don't know. Son of a bitch. Oh, fuck. Oh.
Call for 1, trying for bogey.
That's what it was all about. I mean, I think I've said it before on Media Roots, but the main reason I'm actually glad that Trump is gone is so that people on the scene will stop being so fucked in the head and getting mind fucked by him and his stupid con artist rhetoric. I want that to go away, and I want to see how that evolves and changes. Because Trump was able to mindfuck a lot of people. I mean, he got a lot of people to just grovel to him about pardoning Assange. Like even Craig Murray. I don't know if you saw this, what I tweeted yesterday. One of the WikiLeaks reps admitted on Twitter that he hasn't said anything bad about Trump for the last several months, hoping that it would affect Trump getting some kind of, affect Assange getting a pardon. So just that alone, sort of that mentality, I think really... Just if we're just looking at that pardoning carried on a stick stuff about Ross Ulbricht, Snowden, and Assange, I don't think we're going to get that with the Biden administration. Meaning, I don't think we're going to get like basically little inserts to fool people on the left that will actually like fall for it that badly. Like real leftist anti-imperialists, I don't think they're going to fall for inserts being made by the Biden administration like that. You know, we're going to completely disbelieve, as we should, any claim by an administration or any claim by one of their surrogates of doing something good. So hopefully that approach will return in the same way that real leftists looked at Obama. Didn't give him an inch, didn't believe him when he said he was going to end the wars until he actually did bring some troops home, but didn't congratulate him for that either because he still did mission creep and still kept troops behind. All these things Trump continued to get accolades for, even in some left-wing media circles. And it's just like, what the fuck happened to you guys? Who the fuck opped you? Fuck you. So now that I've identified who those people are, I don't think, them aside, There's still other people who get hoodwinked by this stuff. So I'm excited that we're going to be sort of going into an era where there isn't a president and there isn't this media apparatus that's spawning from the president that has clearly infiltrated alternative media and the conspiracy movement to the degree that Trump had, and that Trump's movement had, and that Trump's people had. That's not going to be the same under the Biden administration, and I'm actually thankful for that, because that shit was a real mindfuck, and that shit made me fucking pissed off. And it actually made me not respect a lot of people that I used to respect. People were falling like flies in the past 4 years. They didn't hold on. They got blown by the winds and got fooled by things. And I saw a lot of people sort of reveal their naivety in the last 4 years. So, but what you'll see is a lot of those people who did get blown in the wind by the Trump admin and did get fooled by this idea that he was fighting the deep state and he was ending the wars, they've blown in the wind before. Meaning, if you go back to their track records before, they flipped on things like Syrian regime change and inexplicably and didn't really explain themselves. They didn't even care about Russia at all. And then suddenly, as soon as Russiagate started, they act like it's their number one issue, but they didn't do anything about it as it was ramping up for the previous 2 years. So, this is sort of how things are. But oh yeah, Jack Posobiec is just like a total neocon cunt puppet. It's like a neocon robot. He used to tell people he was Roger Stone's guy, but Roger Stone is also a neocon puppet of some kind, just working for some other kind of faction. In fact, Roger Stone took credit for the Brooks Brothers riots in Miami, Florida, which helped stop one of the recounts in the 2000 election. Roger Stone was actually doing AstroTurf protests to help Bush's neocons in 2000. That's a fact. It's not up for dispute. So this whole game he's been playing, going on conspiracy shows, being on InfoWars, saying that he doesn't like neocons. I mean, you just can never trust it or believe any of it. So that's just one rule that people should follow, is that people who worked with neocons or who associated with them, who are suddenly acting like they're against them now, just automatically don't believe them. And that also includes Tucker Carlson, who used to work for Bill Kristol, who brought many neocons on his show, including Bernard Kerik and all these people. But they're like neocons who've now sort of pretend like they're anti-deep state, which is bizarre to hear Bernard Kerik, a 9/11 suspect, talking about neocons in the deep state. It's like, dude, you fucking worked under Paul Bremer in Iraq. Don Rumsfeld picked you to go to Iraq, and you're murdering Iraqis, and you're talking about neocons in the deep state now? What the fuck kind of bullshit are you trying to play, dude? No one's going to be fucking letting you do that. I'll guarantee that I will do as much as I can to ruin your reputation again, before and after you got out of jail, you scumbag motherfucker. So these people need to be destroyed. I mean, including Rudy Giuliani. So, yeah, even Rudy Giuliani is talking about the deep state now. It's like, dude, you're like the ultimate deep state errand boy. You're up to your eyeballs in deep state bodies. Bioterror shit, sketchy shit. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, the rule going forward to me is anybody who's really prominent, who's on the right, who talks about neocons of the deep state, I'm just going to make the assumption that they're actual deep state neocons themselves, or part of some kind of deep state neocon faction themselves. That's my new rule going forward. I think it's a safe rule to follow, in fact, because most of the people now who talk about the deep state, who take up most of the space, are actually like 1 degree away from a neocon think tanker at Hudson or at Claremont Institute. The Claremont Institute, Amy Therese, this anti-woke podcaster, her co-host, writes for American Greatness. American Greatness is a Claremont Institute front. Claremont Institute is a neocon operation. One of PNAC's founders, William Bennett, sits on the board of the Claremont Institute. This is just one small example I'm giving you into how these people have infiltrated the left. So when you hear about these anti-woke leftists, you kind of have to wonder, wow, there's a lot of neocons around these people already. Like, and they've only been around for like a year or two doing shit. That's crazy. So, Brock, I don't remember his name. I don't remember it. I barely follow it. That's honestly all I know about that podcast. Is that the co-host writes for a William Bennett front operation called American Greatness. And American Greatness was also putting out a bunch of stuff about how there was going to be a color revolution to oust Trump, sort of siphoning from the conspiratorial realm of like InfoWars rhetoric. Even anti-imperialist people, even some quote-unquote tankies, used to talk about how color revolutions were a means for CIA regime change in other countries. Well, now Claremont is now coming in here and saying that there's going to be a color revolution against Trump, sort of using that same rhetoric. And I find that very fascinating when actual neocon connected people who are like only just a couple steps away from PNAC neocons. General Flynn is also a really interesting figure in this. He is friends with the Ledeen family. I don't know if they spend holidays together, but just that alone, that he's friends with the Ledeen family. He co-wrote a book with Ledeen, and he's the one pumping the internet full of all this conspiracy QAnon stuff. That guy spends time with PNAC's Michael Ledeen. I mean, you can't really make up how crazy that is. So, I'm not saying that it means that QAnon was some kind of neocon psyop. I mean, I don't know. But it is interesting to see neocons getting into the fray and trying to plug themselves into the conspiracy movement. In fact, John Bolton's The Gates Stone Institute was being aggregated by InfoWars and Zero Hedge. So literally for the past 3 years, you've been getting aggregated content from a neocon think tank on conspiracy websites. That's started by John Bolton. Like, this shit's crazy. So if anyone's like, why were you going after Zero Hedge so hard? That seems unfair. They put out good stuff. It's like, everyone is completely dead to me as soon as they start promoting a neocon think tank. That's just the ultimate red flag. There really is no bigger red flag than that. It's like, wow, I used to read this website and all of a sudden they started promoting Gates Stone Institute. That's nuts. Huge red flag, super sus. Whoever's running this is either fully compromised or they always fucking work. Fuck this website. Fuck these idiots who run this shit. And whoever Tyler Durden is, whatever 12 ex-finance fucking jokers that Tyler Durden posts as, he couldn't handle the moniker Tyler Durden on Twitter was such a pussy. He blocked me as soon as I started bringing this stuff up on Twitter. So, yeah, I mean, these people want to hide it. Why do they want to hide this? Why do they, it's just, I don't know, man. It's really sus. It's really sus. So, but one other thing I was going to mention is there's an interesting war going on in the QAnon analyst scene right now. As you probably know, there's a lot of blue check mark sort of mainstream journalists, DC Beltway journalists who now see themselves as QAnon experts, ones that have no knowledge or experience navigating the conspiracy movement and only really started to play catch up in the Trump era. And, a lot of them have done their homework. They've done like a book report style thing where you really cram and you just really learn stuff really fast and you learn all the talking points and you learn all the checkbox stuff. Some of it's good. Some of the stuff by Ben Collins, who I don't care for politically, is good. I don't see eye to eye with the QAnon anonymous people. I think their work is good. Even some of the guy, Daily Dot writer, Mike Rothschild stuff is good, which is I'm sure a name that probably piques a lot of people's interest in the conspiracy movement already, But what's interesting is him. I don't know how the QAnon anonymous guys feel about this. I don't think they feel as strongly about it. And they don't really talk about this idea, but Mike Rothschild and a bunch of other journalists, Fred Brennan, who I had on Media Roots, sort of came out with this hardline, position where it's like anyone who's saying QAnon is a psyop is causing harm. This is harmful. Don't do this. And it's sort of like, well, can we at least fucking talk about it? What do you mean don't do this? Why? So you don't even want to have the conversation. You just want to be like, no, you're causing harm. Don't talk about this. I just think that's bullshit. And it's like kind of pathetic to me because it's like those people didn't even really necessarily explore the possibility. They just sort of wrote it off kind of wholesale, which is fine. But then when you turn around and start saying that don't do this, you're causing harm, it's like, no, that's not how this works. It's frankly just kind of journalistic malpractice, in my opinion. Because if there is a possibility that people directly connected to Trump were directly connected to whatever QAnon was, then you can't just go around. Then if you're saying it's a LARP and it was just a prank by Ron and Jim Watkins and other people on image boards, then you're committing a lie of omission. You have to tell the whole story here. And this is what's interesting is a lot of journalists seem to understand that it wasn't just that Trump was playing into it, it's that somehow his people were connected to it. There seemed to be an understanding there a little bit leading up to the election. And then all of a sudden now it's like, don't really pay attention to any of that stuff. We know it was just these LARPers and they're caught now. And what are you looking for? Nothing. Oh. So I just think that you can't just ignore what that means. That people like Michael Flynn and Eric Prince, and it's not just QAnon. People like Eric Prince helped boost Pizzagate to the level of it becoming a mainstream media story, essentially, in right-wing media. It went to Breitbart. He lifted it out of conspiracy realm into Breitbart. So, yeah, you could just say, okay, these guys were riding on it. Okay, well, let's put that theory to the test. Were they just riding on it, or were they actually involved in it? And I just don't think these people who are trying to, like, get rid of this narrative that it could be a psyop have bothered to really assess that. And if they have, they haven't talked about it. And I just find that it's just not good journalism. I don't care if you think something's harmful, if you think certain conspiracies are harmful. At a certain point, you just have to actually just be honest and look into all the different angles of what this could have been. Saying something's a psyop doesn't mean it's done by a government intel agency. I mean, I've thought that it could have been. I was never committed to the idea that it was an intel agency doing this. But I think it's pretty clear that there are people with intelligence connections who are pushing it and who seem like they're involved in it. So we can't ignore that. And I'm not saying that means they're part of some deep state apparatus necessarily. I think it just means that the idea of psychological operations, the idea of intel agency tactics have been exported to the private realm, and they have been like that for over 20 years. I mean, even during the Bush era, there was a lot of stuff going on in the private realm already that had to do with military psyops. I mean, Blackwater was already doing that in Iraq. They weren't just putting boots on the ground and mercs. They were involved in psychological operations as well. And they continued to do that. So I just find it just strange where it's like, why can't we even just examine this possibility that Eric Prince and Blackwater were somehow involved in this? And if it proves to be nothing, if there's no connections at all, and there's no smoking gun, there's no, then move on. But it's like that mentality of being like, just saying it's a psyop is harmful is just, I think, is really irresponsible. And is just journalistically dishonest. I don't care if you have a sensitivity to these words like deep state, like false flag. I mean, let's just take the concept of false flag. Saying, like making a blatant statement, like saying things are false flags is harmful. Let's say if someone said that. Well, that's just a bullshit statement because you may feel that calling certain things false flags is harmful, like I do. I think calling Sandy Hook a false flag is harmful. I think calling school shootings false flags is harmful. But using a term that actually means something real to describe something that could very well be a false flag is completely appropriate. So it's completely appropriate to speculate on if QAnon is a psyop. Now, to say that it is a psyop, here's the proof, here are the people, I think that kind of stuff is a little charlatanish as well. in a different territory. And that's why I've never said, like, I'm sure who's behind this. I know how it's being done, because I really don't. I just know the puzzle pieces individually. And I've tried to connect these together a lot over the years, but in the end, it's sort of like, I don't think we'll ever really know what happened. This is bigger than just QAnon. It goes all the way back to FBI and on, Pizzagate, the whole Trump campaign, Roger Stone going on InfoWars, planting the seeds that Roger Stone was a secret 9/11 truther. All these things are connected together. So, you can't, let's just start with Roger Stone. You can't look at what he was doing. You can't just look at what he was doing and say that that was just him doing his own thing. That was a part of the Trump campaign. For him to go on InfoWars and basically make Alex Jones's audience feel that Trump was safe for them, that Trump was going to somehow be a secret, patriot fighting the deep state. John Gold says, hey, Robbie, did Trump uncover 9/11? No, he did not uncover 9/11. Kind of fascinating, too, because, just if we're just talking about the 9/11 lawsuits, John, isn't it true that Trump's DOJ actually helped stifle some of those lawsuits against Saudi Arabia, or am I getting that wrong? I noticed Jimmy Dore is friends with Dylan Radigan. And one interesting thing about Radigan that I will say, giving him points, although I really don't care for his anti-China, Matt Stolery stuff he's spewing out recently. But old Dylan Radigan from right around 2001 was one of the only journalists on television, one of the only people who had a TV slot at all, who would repeatedly bring up the fact, because this is a fact, even though people have tried to debunk it, even though Snopes has a thing saying it's not true. That's actually not true. He used to bring up the fact that there was insider trading on 9/11 airline stocks that was very provable put options. That meant that people had foreknowledge who were involved in stock trading. Very clearly what that means. Foreknowledge of an attack using airplanes. So Radigan deserves some points for that, because I like to think of any journalist who willingly brought that up, which was probably risky to do at the time. Even, this is a crazy thing, and I mentioned this before on here, Anthony Weiner is actually the only person to ever bring up on the House floor that Rudy Giuliani and the government of New York destroyed the 9/11 crime scene evidence, and how that in and of itself is a crime. Anthony Weiner brought that up. So I'll always remember that too. Crazy dude, Hillary connected sleazebag up to his eyeballs and whatever the fuck he's doing. But I'll always sort of give him a little point for that. He put it on the official record. That's on C-SPAN. You could look that clip up right now of Weiner talking about how Rudy Giuliani destroyed the fucking forensic evidence on 9/11. So that's not like a secret conspiracy thing. That's something that Anthony Weiner thought made him angry enough to bring up on the House floor. So I'm not just some crazy conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing, dude who gets around YouTube. The politicians have said the same thing that I'm saying. Hillary Clinton actually went out there and said, and John Gold was the one who uploaded this video to YouTube, Hillary Clinton was asking why John Ashcroft had just stopped flying commercially the weeks leading up to 9/11. She's basically implying that the Bush administration had foreknowledge at the timing and were doing things to avoid putting themselves in harm's way, but not telling the public. What's up with that new project they're all involved in? Do you guys know what that's about? With like Dawson and and different people. I saw they're putting together some project. I'm just wondering if anyone saw that or knows what that's about. I'm just gonna admit here for the first time, I think Huma Abedin is hot as fuck. That's the first and only time I will say that. I was trying to think of any any like people who are like terrible politically that I find really attractive. She's one of them. If I actually make a list. And oh my god, I'm gonna admit this too. Don't get mad at me, guys, but Amy Klobuchar could get it as well. Robbie or John, how do you interpret Robert Baer's statements on 9/11 insider trading? I don't know what he said about it, Tom. What did he say? Stapler fetish? What is it? What is a stapler fetish? She would throw a stapler at you? Did she actually throw a stapler at someone? Amy is dumb. Thanks.com. I appreciate that. Amy threw her stapler at her staff. Oh my god. Speaking of being horny online, did anyone see that 2012 Kyle Kalinske got into a time machine, came to the future, and took over his 2021 Twitter account? Shit's getting crazy over there. The fun 2012 Kyle Kalinske. There's like shockingly few politicians I actually find attractive. How old is who? Oh, Adam. He's just posting more silly, kind of outlandish tweets on Twitter that he kind of like in the vein that he used to. There's just a funny in-joke on Twitter where it's like there's actually a Twitter account called Old Kyle Kalinske Tweets where they just pull out his old tweets, and I guess he hasn't deleted any of his like silly old tweets, and some of them are pretty hilarious. Like some of them are just like really silly, over the top, and then he'll have other ones that almost just seem like they're little like diary entries, like in the same way that you would like post like on a blog when you were like in your late teens or something. Like he has one like lamenting about how like black women won't date white boys because you probably want to like date a black girl at some time. I don't remember the details of the tweet. Why are you mad as fuck? Oh, is it because I said the Amy Klobuchar thing? Are you mad at me for that? I don't blame you. It's a pretty ridiculous thing to admit. Punch shots. You guys remember the Jackass? I don't know if it was an episode or if it was in the movie, part 2 or 1, where they're at a golf course and they keep doing the air horn. Have you seen that? If I'm going to be canceled for anything, that would be the best thing to be canceled over, for sure. I'd be okay with that. Totally okay with it. Hell of a way to go. Terror toddler. That's how I want to go out. That's how I want to go out. Oh, wanted to ask you guys. I just got into. So I think I've probably admitted this before on this show, but I am an unabashed M. Night Shyamalan fan. Shyamalan, however you pronounce his name. And he has been doing a show, I guess, on like the Apple streaming network, which is weird to think Apple has their own streaming network. But it's called Servant, and it's like surprisingly bizarre. I was expecting something that was more straight up horror, for some reason, but it's very, very bizarre show. Like the premise for it is very fucked up, disturbing, sort of surprising, unexpected. There's a lot of weird twists and turns in it. It doesn't really have like an M. Night Shyamalan twist necessarily, which I kind of appreciate. Yeah, Catherine, no one I know have seen it either. It's gotten very little like advertising and promotion for some reason, but I'm a big fan of it. And the acting is surprisingly good in it too. Like the guy from Harry Potter, like the ginger kid in Harry Potter. What's that guy's name? Jenny Lynn, yeah. I'm able to separate it pretty easily, actually. I mean, I could compartmentalize it. I mean, probably in real life I couldn't, but just like from just like a mental perspective, I can, like from afar. But if like these people were in the same room with me, definitely would have the effect you're referring to. But it's funny. Like I have experienced what you're talking about because like Rosaria Dawson is someone I find very attractive, and as soon as she started dating Cory Booker, like I actually don't find her attractive anymore. Like it like totally like ruined my appreciation. Um, so I have experienced that. She dumped Corey. Oh, that's good. That's good news. Good for her. She deserves a pat on the back. But she'll forever be. You can't come back from that. You can't come back from dating Cory Booker. Come on, you can't. You just can't. You really can't. To go from Eric Andre to Cory Booker, no. You can't come back from that. Cory Booker probably, well, he probably does, Dad. Probably does. Eric Andre does too, though. Eric Andre used to post nude selfies on, I don't know if it was Instagram. I feel like I saw Eric Andre just straight up, like full frontal nude on Instagram one time. Furious psyop. I thought Signs. I really like Signs. I know a lot of people say it's dumb because of the water thing, and it's a lot of like kind of plot holes in it. But just as like an atmospheric movie, I think it's fantastic. Even the sort of the corny twist ending, I really like that. I mean, if I'm going for my favorite movie of his, it's by far it's Unbreakable. I really like Glass also, but Signs is good for sure. I did not like The Village. I did not like The Happening. I thought The Happening was probably one of his worst movies. But what else did I actually? I mean, someone just said Lady in the Water is bad. I actually kind of liked Lady in the Water. And I think the reason why I liked it is because to me, it's just almost like him doing another version of Unbreakable, but with like a fairy tale instead of a comic book. So I think I kind of just got the concept and went with it. And a lot of people hated it, and I could totally understand why. Oh God, The Last Airbender. Oh dude, Adam G. I forgot he did that movie, and he also did that terrible like Scientology propaganda movie with Will Smith and his son, like Another Earth, I think it was called. That shit was awful. It was like unwatchable. Luis Felipe, yeah, no, I could see why The Village was the end of the road for you. People have sort of unanimously agreed that that M. Night Shyamalan sort of came back with Signs. Or no, sorry, not Signs, Split. So that that as soon as Split came out, or no, sorry, The Visit, not Split. My mom actually in the chat, she just mentioned The Visit. She says she loved The Visit. If you haven't seen The Visit, I recommend watching it. It's him trying to do a found footage horror movie, and it's just a really unique and weird and silly. Some of it's very Shyamalan-y, like hard to stomach. Like the movie literally opens up with a white kid freestyle rapping on a train and filming himself. So like immediately he's like almost just forcing. He's like, you have to get into, like, if you can't get into this scene, I'm gonna make you watch a kid white rapping, just on a train, and you're gonna have to watch this. And if you can't handle this, you're not gonna be able to watch the rest of the movie. So, but the movie itself is really good. And it's kind of, he's been doing mostly straight up horror, weird horror stuff. And some of it's kind of like almost sort of sexual, perverted. It's got some gross out humor stuff that he never used to do that involves like shit and vomiting and things like that. And you're just like, whoa, M. Night, what are you up to? So he's sort of changed his style. Tom Collector, that scene turned me off. I couldn't handle it. Exactly. He's almost like, it's almost like a test. It's like, can you accept this or not? And if you can't watch the rest of this movie. It's the litmus test for the rest of the film. But I thought Split was really, really good. Like Split, I thought was it almost kind of feels like him doing a new style of movie from before in some ways. It has similarities to his other stuff, but it's not. It's a kind of a new, I don't know, era of movie making for him, I think. Rainbow shower. So some people have listened to the most recent episode of the podcast. Have you? Or did you just say that out of nowhere? Brock, I haven't seen that one. From what I understand about that movie, Devil, he just produced it, and that's sort of what The Servant is. He only directs and writes, I think, a few episodes out of the whole first season. Like he directs and writes the first one, he directs and writes the second to last episode of the whole season, but most of it is like just him producing it, and it's sort of done in his style. But I don't think that it's I don't know how much of the story is actually from him. I just binged The Queen's Gambit. Yeah, so we just put out a new Media Roots Radio episode with a very long time sex therapist who has a really crazy public access show in LA, and I think that it still airs. And she actually knew the guy who passed away here. I think I mentioned him maybe when I first started doing this show. There's a guy named Frank Moore who used to do these really crazy live sex shows, and he was a disabled guy in a wheelchair, and he would have naked women around him. He would be naked himself in some of these sex shows, and they were broadcast on Berkeley Public Access TV. So the guest I had on my show, she does a sex public access show, and it's been going for a long time. And I think it's mostly a talk show, but she'll do things on the show that have actually gotten the police called on her show before. Yeah, she's just a really interesting person. I mean, if you ever remember being a kid, I remember, and I forgot to tell her this because I was actually probably embarrassed to. As a young boy, I would probably figure out ways to stay up late at night, and watch HBO Real Sex, which was looking back on it, was a very weird sort of early reality show that they had on HBO. This is even before Taxi Cab Confessions. It was considered the sexy real show on HBO. It's called Real Sex, and Dr. Susan Block, who I interviewed on Media Roots Radio, is actually in original episodes, I think from the first season of Real Sex. And I totally remember her from then. So it was just weird to think, oh my God, I'm talking to the person that, that was in these things that I probably watched when I was 10 years old on HBO. That exposed me to some of this, seemed really salacious when I was watching it back then. Talk Sex with Sue. Jenny Lynn, was that her? She had a special on HBO also, right? Is that her special? I never saw that show, so I'll actually have to find that. But I remember seeing on her bio that it was something that was on HBO, I believe. Totally different. But it's her, right? That's Dr. Susan Block doing that show? Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any suggestions I'm curious to hear your opinions on that, because I wanted to do a more in-depth show. I didn't want to do a sex advice episode of Media Roots Radio. I want to do something more political, sort of going into the laws and stuff. But if you have any feedback about what you thought about that episode, good or bad, or if you think, if you want me to do something else like that, or want me and Abby to do something like that in the future, who we should bring on, what the subject should be, should we actually bring on, I don't know. Because I think that one of the things I realized doing this is that the left's opinion on sex and sex work is not unanimous or sort of consistent across the board. There's a lot of, especially when you throw feminism into the mix, there's a lot of different variations of feminism that have very different views on sex work and sex. So it's kind of, it's just, there's just a lot of different ways to approach it, even from the left. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, bring on more lefty sex workers. Their POV needs more signal boosting. Well, I mean, if contact me on Twitter or something and let me know who I should be following. I don't really know. I mean, I know that there's definitely some activists who have really good politics, like Connor Habib is one. I follow a sex worker who writes for the Daily Dot, who's familiar with QAnon and also writes stuff about politics, like, the stuff that's happening with Pornhub and stuff. Yeah, Jesse, true. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to parse through, this idea that we simultaneously live in like an oversexed feeling culture, overstimulated sexually culture, but combined with taboo about sex still being very strong in our culture. So it's sort of like a weird paradox, our society, in that regard. So I think that's kind of what I was trying to point out. I could see that, there's definitely some feminists who probably think that, there's too much availability or just too much porn that influences people to have the wrong ideas about sex or violent ideas or whatever. And I think that voice almost has more prominence than the voice of people who are like, wait a second, there's all these obscenity laws still on the books in the United States, and states can interpret them however they want and just like get rid of anybody trying to make porn or really any, like a porn movie. If you just have porn movies in some of these states, you could be technically breaking the law. I mean, like in Utah, which is one of the states that I brought up on Media Roots Radio, where they try to use an obscenity law. They try to use the obscenity laws to shut down guys screening porn movies in a Utah video store after hours. They tried to shut him down with obscenity laws. So it sort of created this sort of cultural landscape in the United States where it's interpreted by the states in a really interesting ways, I think. Yeah, Tom Collector, check out the episode. We actually go into Max Hardcore for about 10 minutes. I mean, she knew him and was very familiar with his case. That's something that most people don't realize is during the Bush era, there was an obscenity task force, an obscenity enforcement task force that was formed by John Ashcroft. And what it was designed to do is basically just entrap some of the most, offensive or obscene porn producers at the time. And they figured out a way to entrap a guy named Max Hardcore who was doing some stuff, in porn that most people in here would probably find offensive, but they were trying to find like one of the most offensive porn producers who was doing things that could be interpreted as obscene, I guess, to a jury in Florida. And he actually went to jail for, I think, 18 months or more. Oh, yeah, Director Westfield. No, totally makes sense. Susan actually makes a similar comment in the episode. She's like, yeah, what he did was, shouldn't be illegal. He should have the right to do it. He was entrapped, but, I'm not into the stuff he's making. I personally find it disgusting, she said, but she's, it's important for people to have the right to make it and watch it if it's not actually harming anybody and if it's consensual. So that's kind of the overall point where she was coming from. Jocelyn, that's interesting. I've never heard anything about John Ashcroft being Mormon, and I've never heard that before, that Ashcroft is a common Mormon name. Be interesting to look into that. Maybe he comes from a Mormon background, but he converted. Because I'm pretty sure I would have already known if he was Mormon. There's not very many Mormons in politics. Really quick, I'll just give you a little quick, well, the only Mormons that I know really who are in politics right now are Harry Reid, Glenn Beck, Mitt Romney, and God, I'm forgetting like a governor. Fuck. Can't remember anybody else, actually. That's literally the only people I can think of off the top of my head right now. Oh yeah, Brock. Glenn Beck is a huge morbid. Huge. He's so big of a morbid that he actually did a chalkboard, like whiteboard diagram session about how the Native Americans are the lost tribe of Israel. On his old Fox News show, he did this. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to find the clip and post it in the chat. It was a big deal when it happened because everybody's like, holy shit, Fox News is letting a... Yeah, Gawker. I remember reading it in Gawker. This is the article I just found. Yeah, this is great. That Fox News let this air is pretty funny too, because it's just a straight up Mormon... It's just straight up Mormon propaganda. 100%. God damn it, my internet's going very slow. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, I'm posting this in the chat right now. Here you go. Jeff Flake, Orrin Hatch. Thank you, Lori. Lori's tuning in. Gary Herbert, governor of Utah, is Mormon, says Joe Smith. Evan McMullen, Mormon, says investigate 311. Wow, okay. Totally didn't know any of those people were Mormon. Great. I don't know if oh, should I tee it up again? Turn down my screen light a little bit. Chavez, but he's also a Utah, so duh. Okay. Play it again for a little bit. Oh shit. Is that too loud, you guys? Can't tell. turn it up. I don't know if I should turn that shit up. How about that? Yeah. Pretty impressive drive, dude. Pretty good. Pretty fucking good.
Get the chainsaw.
You son of a bitch. Yes. Should I putt it? What do you think?
Golf for one, trying for bogey.
Trying for bogey. Fuck her, dude. The fuck?
Golf for one, trying for double bogey.
The fuck is happening, dude? Son of a bitch.
Golf for one to putt. Golf for one on tee.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit difficult. Okay. Oh! Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yes! Yes! Yes.
Golf for one, trying for birdie.
I don't want to try for birdie. I'm going to take a risk. I'm taking a risk here. Not letting me turn right? Okay, I'm going to take a small risk. Where's my goddamn keyboard? Hold on a second. It's not letting me.
Watch your time.
Fuck you, dude. I guess I can't change it. Fuck! I guess I can't change it from a putter to something else, so. Son of a bitch! No. Dude. I had to putt up the fucking hill? That's so annoying. Son of a bitch. Wow. Yeah.
Golf for one is up. Oh boy.
That's a good soundtrack for this golfing game, Carl. I think so. I think that's a good choice. Popular Soviet songs and youth music for Golden Tee. My friend had an idea once to go on a boat ride.
Watch your time.
Fucking shit!
Golf for one.
To go on a
trying
boat
for
ride
bogey.
with only Soviet France soundtrack.
Golf for one on tee.
I'm going to play a whole game of golf for you guys. How about that? How about that? Yeah. Yes. Fuck yeah, dude.
Chainsaw.
Get the chainsaw. Pretty cool looking. Whatever the engine is for these graphics, I like it. I don't know what they're doing, but I like it. I like the vibe. Shit! Oh, dude! That was great.
Golf for one, trying for birdie.
Oh, that's cute. All right. Son of a motherfucker.
Golf for one, trying for par. Golf for one, on tee.
Yeah. Check that out.
Get the sand bucket.
Oh, you fucker. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, wow. Did I shoot it off the hill? Oh, that would suck if I did that.
Golf for one, to putt. Golf for one, to putt. Golf for one, to hit.
Oh, wow. Damn. Oh.
That's wet.
Oh, fucking shit. Ooh, no, 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 no.
Golf for one, to putt.
I have to putt? I can't use either.
Golf for one, to putt.
Hell no. No guarantees. This is not even nearly.
Golf for one is up.
I only discovered this like a couple of weeks ago. Never played this before. That. It's pretty. I mean, it is a for a golf game. I guess it's okay. It definitely feels like a game made for old men. Like it's not meant to appeal to like teenagers or anything. I mean, other golf games, you know, are sort of a lot of them are made to like appeal to younger people. This one seems just like it is just like a game made for like people to play in bars, especially if it's a trackball. You know, because if you're old, you don't want to be fucking around with like a joystick. Shit, that was stupid. Dude, what did I do that for? I saw that picture you posted, Catherine. That was pretty crazy that you still have all those arcade games in there. You're kind of lucky in a way. Shit, that was dumb. I should have just putted. Can I putt? Will it let me?
Golf for one, to putt.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Golf for one, to putt.
7 holes. How many holes are in golf? This is a lot of holes, huh?
Golf for one.
Change clubs to a wedge. Someone's telling me. All right. I'll change my club to a wedge if you think that'll help. Get the chainsaw. Of course. Of course.
Get the chainsaw.
Overshot. Overshot it. I mean,
Go for one.
why'd they all make it
trying
sound
for
like I
double
did
bogey.
terribly there? I thought it was okay. Check it out. A little replay. All right.
Go for one on tee.
Yeah, that was great. Okay. Ooh, no, no, no. Oh, I thought that was water. Oh, it is water.
Get the chainsaw.
It's not bad. Director Westfield, there's a few bowling games on here. I could pull one up before I sign off. I just show you the menu and how many bowling games are on here
To hit.
that play with a trackball. It's actually pretty cool. Not bad.
Go
Putter.
for one. Trying for birdie.
Oh, why does it like move like
Go
that?
for one.
Is it the
trying
wind
for
or?
par.
Okay.
Go for one on tee.
What? Oh, I did not mean to do that. I was trying to switch clubs. Hold on. Let's get this going here. I gotta get it. Let's get really far. Yeah. The 300. Ooh, no. This is bad. In the water. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. No, 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 no.
That's wet.
And trees. Shit. Ah, shit. I did not mean to do that. Let's get a putter going.
Go for one to putt. Go for one is up.
Shit. How do I turn once I'm already in the stance? It's kind of annoying. Can you guys hear the trackball? Like, is it loud? It sounds loud to me, so I don't know if you like are hearing it on the microphone. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, shit. Right in the water. Oh, that sucks. Ooh, that was close.
Golfer 1 to putt.
Golfer 1 on tee.
Damn.
Get the snorkel.
You almost make it like perfect. Just goes right in the fucking water, dude. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to swing softer. I get it. I get the concept. I understand. It's not a pro tip.
Golfer 1 trying for double bogey.
Son of a bitch.
Golfer 1 to putt.
Golfer 1 is up.
Yeah, okay, good. Good. It landed.
What a drive.
Yep.
Oh, it's in the beach.
Fuck you. Motherfucker.
Golfer 1 trying for bogey.
Golfer 1 on tee.
Oh. Oh no, that looked a lot closer than that was gonna be. Yes, I understand. I understand. I'm not supposed to swing as hard as I just did. I completely understand.
Golfer 1 trying for bogey.
Golfer 1 on tee.
Dude, that was stupid as fuck. That was very stupid. No, I gotta choose a different one. Shit. Shit. Son of a fuck.
Oh boy.
Golfer 1 to putt.
Ah, shit.
Golfer 1 to putt.
Golfer 1 is up.
I want to get the bear. I want to hit that motherfucking bear. I want to get it. I want to get it. I want to hit it. Shit. No, oh, that's terrible. I've done worse.
Golfer 1 trying for birdie.
Dude, I have to use the putter here? Are you kidding me?
Golfer 1 trying for par.
Here it is. Last hole. Here we are.
Golfer 1 to hit.
Fuck.
That's wet. Get the chainsaw.
Huh? Could be worse.
Golfer 1 trying for bogey.
All right, last hole, guys. You ready? Wait for this shit.
Golfer 1 trying for double bogey.
What happened? How come I can't go right? There it goes. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. It kind of does, Adam. I agree. Some Mortal Kombat vibes. Mortal Kombat vibes for sure. Well, that's it, guys. There's 18 holes of golden tea. So thank you everyone for tuning in to MAME Politics episode 105. We'll do this again soon. Take care.